Monday. I hope that all of your weekends were well. I know I didn't go live this weekend. I was pretty much resting. I was as much as I could keeping up with the Big Brother game, and as much as I could, I was keeping up with the feeds. So, yesterday's episode, as everybody knows, was postponed. Um, Not postponed as in it wasn't shown yesterday, but it was shown late. Excuse me. So I ended up seeing it this morning instead of being able to see it last night and recap after the episode like I typically do. So, yesterday's episode did not really reveal anything that we didn't know already. It kind of just recapped what's been happening, which was basically it showed Tucker winning the AI tournament again against Quinn, but then it showed the 10-1 vote against Kenny for Kenny to go home and for Quinn to stay in the house. Inexplicably, I don't really know why Cam is giving Tucker a heads up. I'm still trying to figure out, is this closeness that certain people have with Tucker, is it like a strategy of, like how people were close to Michael when they knew that Michael was just winning everything? So it's like, let's just stay on the right side of this guy until he ultimately gets out of the house? Or is it like, let me just play both sides of the fence and then just go where the power goes? I'm specifically thinking about Cam and certain things that Cam is telling Tucker, and then I'm thinking about Chemo and certain things that Chemo is telling Tucker, and it seems like they're acting alone in a sense. So it's like, I'm sitting here and I'm wondering to myself, I don't know, are they just bad game players, or do they have something up their sleeve? Good morning, Colleen. So that I don't know. So it's interesting too, when I look at the fandom, they have this, oh, it's either Quinn or Tucker. People either hate Quinn or they hate Tucker, and to me, I'm like, they're both kind of doing the same thing in different ways. In Quinn's case, he's actually a super fan of the game, but he's a bad super fan. As in, he's so excited and overzealous about the game, like I've said in my other lives, that he's making game moves that don't make any kind of sense. Like, for example, the only thing that's better than getting a deep fake HOH is having a family member in the game and there's two of you in the game, even though we saw that that turned into a liability at the end of the day. But theoretically, like having a family member in the game with you, that the two of you are both trying to win the money. So you get a fake HOH, not a fake HOH, but you get the power to basically take somebody's HOH power, make their nominations, and make their renoms. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't tell anybody about that, but if you're going to tell somebody, this person better be a final two. And you have 4 weeks to use it, so come on now. Morning, Lisa. So this had the potential to be a very exciting and interesting week based on him using this and people not knowing that he was using it. But everybody literally knew. So the show was acting when everybody was like, oh my God. And then when Ainsley made the picks and Angela was like, oh my God, look at that. Oh, that's not me. Oh, they even showed in the episode. They even showed in the actual episode when Quinn was meeting with everybody. And us as the feeders, those of us who are feeders, know that Quinn actually went up to Angela, went up to everybody, and was like, which people would you like to see me nominate? He asked Angela that specifically. And it was no secret to anybody the people that he was going to put up. Now, I'll say, if I was in Quinn's spot, I would have put up Rabina straight up, and this is the reason why. I wouldn't have put up Cedric. Obviously, Cedric is part of his alliance. That's one reason. But a second reason is Tucker's just very likely to win a lot of these things. So instead of just being like, okay, let me put up somebody because they stand a chance of possibly beating out Tucker in the power of veto, I would just put up Rabina next to him straight up. Tucker, Rabina, and Mackenzie, because you can't get to him, so at least get out his closest person in the house, because that does impact you in one of these houses when you get very close to them, and now that person is no longer there. That's one way you can weaken him, and then you are severely putting your guy at risk, because since there's such high chances of Tucker actually winning power veto and taking himself off the block, then your guy is still going to be up there. So Cedric is still going to be up there. So now you got Cedric up there. You got Mackenzie up there, and then you probably got Rabina as a renom. I mean, Rabina could still end up going home. But who knows? Like, who knows what the AI comp is going to be? She could end up winning the AI comp, or I don't know, Mackenzie could end up winning the AI comp. Rabina could somehow get the votes because people are like, Rabina is actually way less of a threat than Cedric. You just never volunteer yourself to go on the block. That's just my opinion. Don't volunteer yourself to go on the block. So what we're having right now is that the major powers are just going back and forth with one another. I feel like Tucker is so setting the tone with this game that Cedric actually believed that that was a smart move because of the way that Tucker plays and the fact that Tucker has been doing this. Now everybody is like, well, if I got to sacrifice for the team, what happened to the people who, when they were suggested as pawns, they're like, no way, or they cried, or like they did the mama fee and threatened people, like these people don't seem to care about whether they go on the block or not, and they don't seem to really think it out about whether they should be on the block or not either. You were so right. You should have put up Rubina straight away. Yeah, that's what I would have done, because, yeah, for the same reason that I gave originally. You put up Rubina, he's probably going to stay. I mean, he's probably going to get off the block, because that's just the honest truth. He's so good at all these games that he's likely to get off the block. One of your numbers is not at risk. So then you can pick a third person who's not in your alliance to go up there. Rabina's already up there. Mackenzie's already up there. And then you pick another person. But instead, now you have your guy up there at risk. And if for whatever reason Cedric is not able to win the AI arena, he could go home. And he didn't even have to be up. This was a guy in your alliance. Like, unless he didn't want Cedric to be in there, but in his case, I would definitely want Cedric to be in there, because Tucker is not a fan of Cedric either. So it kind of disperses. I mean, I know the number one, the primary person he wants to get in is Quinn, but they're like 1-2. So you should make sure to protect your guy. Even if he's like, oh yeah, I have no problem going in. Be like, no, for the betterment of like my game and for the betterment of our alliance, I'm going to think of some kind of alternative to putting you in there, even if Tucker goes in there. Matter of fact, I might not have even put up Tucker straight up, to be honest with you. If I'm really, really thinking strategy, I might have just been like, let me use him as the renom. But then again, the way that this played out, let's see. What am I trying to say here? Tucker ended up winning the veto, but Tucker wouldn't have been guaranteed to even be playing the veto if you didn't put him in on the front door. So this has not really been an extremely strategic season or anything like that. But I will give them credit that this season has actually been on the interesting side so far. But that's once I let go of my feeling of there being like big strategic game players on this game. And then the people who seem to kind of have the best reads on the house and know the game the best haven't really been in power and haven't been making decisions and not really had that much influence on the decisions being made. So it's kind of like, it's the Tucker show, it's the Quinn show, at times it's the Angela show. I didn't even mention that Angela won that HOH. I guess because that narrative is kind of boring, I want to say. So everybody is talking. I remember everyone was saying, "Oh, Angela saved the season," but Angela has been boring to me since the first week. She was interesting the first week only because of her explosion and her meltdown and everything. So she ends up winning that competition where they're showing pictures of the old house guests, and then you have to look and see the abnormalities in those pictures, press the buzzer. The most interesting thing they could think of was that Angela kept pressing the button. Angela kept picking Brooklyn. Angela picked Brooklyn a few times in a row to go up and do that quiz thing. Brooklyn wasn't feeling that. Brooklyn confronted her about it. She was just like, "Oh, it seemed personal," and Angela's like, "Oh, it's not personal. You know, it's nothing against you. We don't talk game, and you're a threat." And then Brooklyn walks away crying, and then it shows Angela in the diary room like, "What are we in high school? Grow up." And I'm like, Angela, of all people in this world, telling somebody to grow up. Like, Angela is one of the least mature in the house, telling somebody else to grow up. So the married moms were beefing. Right now it's the Tucker and Angie show, LOL. So that's what I got for today. What's today? Today is Monday, so that means we're gonna have the POV ceremony. I suppose Rabina is gonna get put up. Everybody knows that, unless something has changed. I think Rabina is gonna get put up as of now. So we have our 3 nominees: Cedric, Rabina, and Mackenzie. And then Thursday we're gonna have our AI tournament, and then we're gonna see what happens from there. And I hope they do away with AI, or at least I hope they do away with AI Arena after this week. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but I would love for Julie to come out there on Thursday and be like, I have some news, everybody. The AI twist is done, and now we're gonna go back to the 2 people on the block system and let that be that. So thanks for joining me. Depending on how the day ends up playing out, I might come back here, like if there's something to talk about once the veto ceremony is done and everything. But I don't know, not a guarantee. But please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to get notified when I drop some more great content. Thank y'all. Have a great Monday.